and talk golf. And the only thing better than talking golf is playing golf with you. So hopefully we'll get a chance to do that one day soon, too.
Thank you, Dan. My pleasure.
All right, you take care. What we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to be back with Susie Wally. She's the president of the PGA of America, director of instruction at the Country Club at Mirasol, and just named Golf Magazine Top 100 Teacher. You're not going to want to miss it, so stay tuned. We'll be back with more of the Golf and Travel Show.
Cinderella story, out of nowhere, a former greenskeeper now about to become the Masters champion.
It looks like I'm a wreck. It's in the hole!
Have a project with an upcoming deadline, but don't have the manpower to finish on time? Or maybe your business just took on a new client and has a sudden demand for qualified and professional workers. Whatever your business needs, we've got you covered. With over 40 years of experience in the staffing industry and 9-time winners of Inavero's Best of Staffing Award, your staffing problem is no problem for our team of experts. From event hosts, chefs, and housekeepers, to warehouse workers, general laborers, and landscapers, we've got the workers you need. So don't let the burdens of staffing your next big job wear you down. Consult with one of our nearly 200 offices today to see how we can help by visiting us online at www.laborfinders.com or connect with us on social media by following our username @LaborFinders.
And we are back. And as I mentioned earlier, great show tonight, 2 good guests, and I'm really excited about our next one. Talk about breaking the glass ceiling. This woman has shattered the glass ceiling. She is the current president of the PGA of America, the director of instruction at the Country Club at Mirasol, and just named Golf Magazine Top 100 Teacher. I am talking about Susie Wally. Susie, are you there?
I am here. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you tonight?
I'm super.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. You're my neighbor, actually, because my day job, which our sponsor, Labor Finders, who I work for, we are located right behind Publix, across the street from PGA of America and down the block from your office out the range over there at Mirasol. So,
well, we are neighbors, then.
We are neighbors. My boss used to be a member. Unfortunately, he moved to a different club closer to his house. But so I used to lunch there every once in a while. Unfortunately, not play there too often. But what a beautiful facility you have a chance to work at there.
Isn't that the truth? It's spectacular. And, I spent the day there today. It was a beautiful day here in Palm Beach. And, I can't ask for a better place to be a part of a team.
Well, I have to, it's funny. I took my team out to lunch today, and I put the top down in my convertible, and we were all saying that this is just the most perfect day ever. So for anybody if you're listening up north, come on down. You still got the bad weather, and we got the good weather. So, which leads me to the fact, I know a lot of people who are instructors, work up north in the summer and come down here in the winter. Are you still working up north in the summer, or are you down here year round now?
Yeah, no, we are. We're in Hartford, Connecticut for a portion of the year at TPC River Highlands. And then I spent probably since the end of September down here. We've had a home down here. Our children were born in Palm Beach. We raised them in Farmington, Connecticut when my husband took a job with the tour. But we always have loved it in Palm Beach Gardens, and thrilled to be spending a majority of the time here.
Yeah, you're definitely getting the best of both, for sure. So explain a little bit to the listeners, too, that, well, first of all, congratulations on also, besides being named Golf Top 100 Teacher, but also becoming president of the PGA of America and the first woman to hold that. But explain a little bit about how that works. I kind of understand that it's typically somebody who is a PGA teaching pro that then serves for a period of time as a president, but maybe not everybody understands. So how does that work for you?
Yeah, so the PGA of America, we're the largest sports association in the world. We have 29,000 members, all of whom work within the golf industry. And the golf industry is an $84 billion industry. We have executive managers that are PGA professionals, golf course owners, people who work for manufacturers, coaches like me, people who are in golf operations, running clubs like Mirasol. And so we hold a multitude of hats, and those of us who are PGA professionals have the opportunity amongst our 41 sections across the country to be a part of the governance structure, which includes a board of directors in each section as well as officers of those sections, and that also work with staff locally. And for me, my journey started at the local level in Connecticut, where I, volunteered for committees and things to not only grow the game and get more clubs in people's hands, but to serve our membership, which is really why we're here, to help others who do what we do, to escalate their positions at their facilities, to offer them education opportunities, tournament opportunities, employment opportunities that really are important to them, to their families, and to their livelihood. And, that for me, it happened organically to come into a national position. I was very active in my local section. I ran for the National Board of Directors, which I earned a seat for that, which was a 3-year term. And when I came off the National Board of Directors, it was an election year for an officer position for the national level, and I campaigned and ran for that and won. And so you end up serving an 8-year term, which is 2 years as secretary, 2 years as vice president, 2 years as president, and then 2 years as honorary president. So it's a big commitment, but it's an unbelievable opportunity to be with others who do what you do on a daily basis, not necessarily coach and teach like I do, which many of us do, but are within the industry. And I've got nothing but great joy out of it.
Well, obviously, it's very impressive, I'm sure, for the folks that you teach and for your club to have somebody with that kind of stature attached to them. They must be very pleased to have you at Mirasol.
It's been a great partnership. And, what I love about Mirasol is I get to go there and do what I find great joy in, which is help people with their golf journey. I love to play the game, and I love to share that passion with other people who want to, whether it's they're brand new and have never played the game, or they're looking to play on a tour in the future at a high competitive level. And I get great satisfaction out of teaching that whole timeline, whether they're 5 years old or 85 years old. So for me, it's just a wonderful work world to be in. I mean, when you love what you do, it certainly makes life pretty easy.
Now, speaking of which, I'm curious. So you played college golf in North Carolina, correct?
I did. University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill.
Okay.
Go Heels. They're on tonight.
Okay. So, we won't keep you too long, so you don't have to miss it. But
no, it's okay. It doesn't start till 9 o'clock.
Perfect. So, maybe I'll even get home by then. But I'm always curious, people that are very accomplished golfers and they play golf in college and stuff, my assumption is typically the dream is to be a professional golfer on the tour. And I know that you were fortunate to play some professional golf, even against the men on the PGA Tour, which is another amazing accomplishment that you've managed to do during the course of your career. But what was your plan for your golf career, and how close are you on what you thought it was going to be back then?
Yeah, actually, when I went to college and loved the opportunity I had to go to college and play 4 years of golf there on scholarship, amazing. I was really kind of the beginnings of Title IX, which was just a fantastic opportunity for me. My aspirations were not to become a professional golfer. I just loved athletics and loved sports, and I loved to compete. Mm-hmm. So when I graduated college, I took my LSATs, and I was going to head off to law school, and ultimately qualified for two LPGA Tour events as an amateur that particular summer. And just loved it, played well enough to earn some attention for some people who were willing to sponsor me to go to tour school, and had that conversation with my family that I was going to go to tour school instead of law school. Uh-oh. And thankfully I had wonderful parents who supported that and told me I could always be a lawyer and why not go ahead and give it a try. Then ended up earning my tour card to go out and play the LPGA Tour. So for me, it wasn't something that was really planned. It was something that I loved and played well enough to secure a spot on the LPGA Tour. I promptly lost that spot because I did not play well enough. I made 3 cuts, and that was it. And really was incredibly disappointed in my play that year. But fortunate enough to meet my husband in the process, who wasn't my husband at the time, but got back on tour in 1992. I got my card back, and then went back out on tour in 1993. I was married in 91, and the end of 93 was pregnant with our first daughter, and just chose to not want to be out on the road, a personal decision, but really wanted to be home with my daughter, and ended up getting incredibly lucky because my husband was the director of golf at Ibis Golf and Country Club at the time.
Uh-huh.
And Jim Flick, a renowned instructor,
Sure.
had his golf schools there. Bob Toski often came over. Martin Hall worked for him full time. Mark Wood and Kathy Wood, Dean Rymeth, Laird Small, Charlie Epps. I mean, the who's who really of golf instruction were there at the time, and I just lucked into having an opportunity to observe. And my mom was a teacher, not a golf teacher, but a professor. And I fell in love with teaching because of the people who were there at the time. I credit Jim with that. I credit Martin Hall with that. I just really loved helping people learn the game of golf, but I was also so fortunate to have role models and mentors that shared everything they knew about the game with me. And so that's when I really knew that this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a coach. I wanted to be a teacher.
So that brings me to my next question, which could be, your answer could be good or maybe not good, depending upon what it is and who's listening. But if somebody's listening and they want to take lessons with you, is the only way to be a permanent full-time member at Mirasol, or is it possible to do it any other way? Do you have to have a friend? Do they do a summer membership? Or, because not everybody lives near Palm Beach Gardens, so.
No, right. So, Mirasol's been incredible. They junior golfers, they've opened that for us.
Like a summer camp, do they have, perhaps?
Programming.
As well?
They do, and they've opened that up to those
to the public
who aren't members for the juniors. And then as far as those that are outside our membership, you just have to have somebody that hosts you.
It's always who you know, right?
And then certainly, more than willing to help anyone at any time when I'm back up north too. So, there are opportunities. We have an incredible team there, and if you knew a member there that was willing to host you to be a part of that, we would absolutely welcome you to come over. It's just a matter of it's an association, obviously, and a membership, and.
Yep.
They do have 1,200 members there.
Right, two beautiful golf courses and a beautiful clubhouse as well.
It really is spectacular, and we're excited. We're going to have PGA Junior League there this year, which is team golf for juniors, 13 and under, boys and girls. And that's been opened up to the public by our general manager and our director of golf, which is just a wonderful opportunity for youth within the area to participate with us on our teams. And it's team golf. It's a scramble format. It's a lot of high fives, a lot of fun. Parents get to watch. They wear uniforms with numbers on them. And we have 60,000 kids playing PGA Junior League golf across the country. So it's something I love. I've been a coach of that since its inception. And Florida, it's just come to Florida within the last 2 years. So excited to introduce that, at least in the community. We'll be playing with another team from PGA National. So we're excited to have that be a part of our community.
Just if anybody wants to find out more information about becoming a member or getting into any of these programs, MirasolCC.com is the website for Mirasol. So I'm sure that's the best way to get a hold of the folks over there and either go get a lesson or get your kid into a lesson or some of these programs. One last question I have for you, okay? You've been in and out of playing pro golf. Is there any chance that one day when you're old enough, I know you're still quite young, but like a Legends Tour or something, I know the LPGA, they kind of have a few events here and there.
I'm already playing on the Legends Tour.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't want to misspeak because you sure look too young. But
no, you're great. I'm playing, so I'll be playing. I played in the USGA inaugural Senior Women's Open last year. At Chicago Golf Club. I've played in the Senior LPGA Championship. I still love to play and compete. I'm trying to earn a spot on our Women's PGA Cup team, which is coming up this October in Texas. I'm the captain of that team as well. We're playing against 7 other countries and would love to make that team. I'm also playing in a Legends event in June in Seattle, Washington.
Cool.
And then I typically play in a Legends event called the BJ's Charity Championship at the Cape, in Cape Cod, closer to the fall. So still extremely active in my tournament play. I'll be playing some South Florida Section PGA events coming up here in the next couple months. And as I said, if I had the opportunity to play golf every single day, I would. And I still love to compete. Albeit I don't get to practice as much as I used to, so I get aggravated sometimes at my score, as does everybody
just
else.
like the rest of us.
But, yes, but I still love it and enjoy it and look forward to it and try best I can to get out there as much as possible.
Well, I appreciate what you're doing, all the people that you're helping through being the president of the PGA, all the people that you teach. Golf is a difficult game, and anybody that can help make it easy for the rest of us that are not as talented, it's certainly a good thing. So thank you for everything that you do, and congratulations again on being a golf top 100 teacher. That's just awesome.
Wow, thank you so much. I'm honored to be one. Thanks for having me on the show, and I hope everybody gets out and plays some golf tomorrow.
I hope so, too. The weather's too beautiful not to. So thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully we'll talk to you again one day soon as well.
You bet.
All righty,
Have
bye-bye.
a good night.
All right, that was Susie Wally, president of the PGA of America, director of instruction at the Country Club of Mirasol, and now a golf top 100 teacher. What we're going to do is we're going to take one last break. Then I got a tiny bit more travel news, a whole bunch of Dan's deals on travel. You're not going to want to miss it, so stay tuned for more of the Golf and Travel Show.
I'm not smart enough. My resume's not up to date. They'll never pick someone like me. No one's hiring right now. Sound familiar? Don't let you get in the way of landing your next job opportunity. Sometimes it's best to leave it up to the experts. Did you know that the last reported job openings in the U.S. as of this recording was a series high of 6.7 million jobs, and that 1.1 million of those jobs were left unfilled? This means that there's a potential opportunity that's just right for you. And at Labor Finders, we're committed to helping you find it. Whether you're entering the workforce or looking for supplemental income in a job that starts right away, we got you covered. With over 300,000 clients across the U.S. and 20,000 active daily workers, we have the network and the experience to get you your next job. Contact one of our nearly 200 offices today to see how we can help in your job search. Simply visit us online at www.laborfinders.com or connect with us on social media by searching the username LaborFinders.
And we are back, and as promised, a little bit of travel news and then a couple of deals, and we'll all be on our way somewhere. First of all, one thing that's been kind of affecting me, or at least worrying me a little bit, and maybe worrying and affecting a lot of other people, is the situation with Boeing and their 737 MAX that's been grounded. For better or worse, our country was like the last one to ground it, and there's probably going to be some investigations about that. It seems that the second crash in a relatively short period of time may have to do with something in the way that the plane was built, and it also could have to do with a lack of training, either provided by Boeing or provided by the airlines. Boeing, from what I understand, is working quickly to try and fix this. People are starting to cancel orders that they have for this plane. This was the 737 has been the workhorse of the aviation industry and, of course, a cash cow for Boeing as well. So their stock has been dropping significantly. There's a lot of concern. They need to fix this, and they need to fix it fast. Also, a lot of airlines are having problems because they grounded so many of their planes. They've had to cancel a lot of flights. One of the airlines is Southwest, who I'll be flying in just a couple of days. Southwest's entire fleet are 737s. Only about 30 some odd of them were the 737 MAX. But it's causing them to have issues on top of the fact that they also were having issues prior to that with canceling on average 100 or 200 flights a day due to their problems with labor strife with their mechanics or machinists or whoever, the guys that do their repairs, their union, which for 6 years they had been trying to settle a new contract. And a lot of them were calling out sick. It got to the point where the FAA actually had to step in and say that they believe that the situation is causing the airline to be unsafe. And that worries me, and it should worry all of us. Again, you know, Southwest is my favorite airline. I fly them more frequently, and I trust them. I'm starting to be concerned. However, after that edict basically came out from the FAA, lo and behold, all of a sudden there was the two sides got together for some negotiations, and I believe they came to some sort of an agreement. So I think it's a tentative agreement. It has to be voted on by the rank and file. So hopefully that will be taken care of. The planes will be properly maintained. Boeing will fix the 737 MAX problem, and we all could go on our merry way and start flying again and not having to be worried and scared or delayed or canceled. Speaking about airlines, I've got a whole bunch of other good, bad, and ugly news. I think this is a good story. Other people may disagree with me. Again, I try not to get too political, but just today there was a story that United Airlines became the first U.S. airline to offer non-binary gender booking options. So if you don't consider yourself to be a Mr., but you also don't consider yourself to be a Ms. or a Mrs., you can now be an MX. So if you're somewhere in between. So, there are a lot of people like that. And again, depending upon if you are more of a believer in science or more of a believer in religion, the people, of course, who believe in religion don't believe that there's anything but a man and a woman and they should only be married to each other. The people that believe in science think that sometimes our genes get a little bit shuffled up and people are not 100% male or 100% female. They may decide that they're not what they appear to be, or they may decide that there's something in the middle and neither. But in my opinion, people are people, and they all should be respected for what they are, or what they think they are, or what they believe they are. And customers are customers, and their money is good. And why should an airline anger somebody? So me personally, I give kudos to United, which I don't typically do, but they're trying to be inclusive and provide good customer service, and it's hard to criticize that. Also, JetBlue, my second favorite airline. It seems that a lawsuit was just filed against them, was reported today in the Washington Post, that in Puerto Rico on the beach, two female flight attendants bumped into two pilots that were flying on a different plane, so they didn't know each other, but they discovered that they both work for the same airline. It seems, according to the lawsuit, that these women who are unnamed, the pilots were named, I'm not going to mention their name, but they gave them a couple of beers on the beach, and the women claimed that there were drugs in the beers, and they ended up being, one of them was raped. The other one was attempted to be raped. It didn't happen, it seems. I don't know where it stood with the police or what happened with them, but there's now a civil suit because they did go to JetBlue and file a complaint, and they feel that the company did nothing to investigate or take care of the problem or the issue. So not a good look. Let's face it, lots of people work for these airlines, and there are good people and bad people. Things happen. I'm a little disappointed if JetBlue didn't do the right thing to investigate and make sure that everything was properly taken care of. Obviously, we don't know all the details on that, but I guess as this winds its way through the courts, we're going to hear more about that, so we'll stay tuned. Another JetBlue story, not quite as bad. They are renovating their fleet of Airbus A320 planes, which are the majority, I think, of their planes, or a large portion of them. They're going to be changing out the seats. And as many of you may know, that a lot of airlines have switched to these narrow profile seats that are thinner so that they can, of course, fit more rows of seats in and cram more people in. Now, JetBlue, they've always had a reasonable amount of leg room. Actually, the pitch, which is the leg room, had been 34 inches, which at least for me is plenty of room. They are going to be reducing that from 34 down to 32 inches. So I don't have long legs. I'll probably still be okay. But if you do have long legs, you may notice the difference. The good news, though, is they're actually making the seats a little bit wider. So to me, that's almost more important. Sometimes if you end up sitting next to somebody who's rather large, the seats are so narrow that they end up in their seat and your seat with you. So, personally, I would prefer to have that. But they're also doing other upgrades. They're going to have adjustable headrests, which is something new for them. Also, they are upgrading their TV screens. Of course, they were like one of the first airlines, I believe, to have TV in flight, without any extra fees of any kind. The screens at this point are a little bit old and a little bit small. I mean, we're all used to looking at like 60-inch TVs now, and these were probably 4 inches or something. And at least my eyes aren't as good as they used to be. So now the new TVs are going to be 10-inch high-def screens. They're also going to have 100 different TV channels, expanded collection of movies, video games, etc. You're even going to be able to pause live TV and have a picture-in-picture option. So pretty high tech. They're also going to have new Wi-Fi, which is going to function well, including when you're over the ocean. I guess they've had problems in the past where it doesn't work well over the ocean. I don't know. I don't fly overseas that often. But by the end of the year, about a third of their fleet is going to be reconfigured with all this new stuff. So it's pretty cool. These planes are smaller. They're going from 150 seats to 162 seats. So it's 12 more people that they could fit in because of less leg room and narrower seats. And when you do the math and you know how many flights that these airlines fly in a day or in a year, and you could charge, an extra dozen or so people on each flight, you're talking about a huge amount of money. So let's face it, they're doing this probably to make more money than to make us more comfortable. But again, it's a mixed bag. There's some good, some bad with the story. So we'll take it. At least there's some good. As far as Dan's deals, today I think I'm going to focus all on airfare deals. I found these on a site that I usually find airfare, which is called Scott's Cheap Flights. You can go to scottscheapflights.com. You can sign up for it for free, and every day they will email you some really good deals. Typically, most of them are international. Some are domestic. I went ahead and upgraded because I'm traveling internationally in a couple of weeks, and I wanted to get their even better deals. It's about $40 for a year subscription, and trust me, they send me like 3 or 4 incredible deals every day. So if you travel a lot, it's a great investment. So I always say I try and do these geographically speaking from closest to furthest, but my geography is not always good, so I apologize if I'm messed up a little bit. But we'll give it a shot. First off, a place I love to go to, I've been to a couple of times, talking about Costa Rica. So these are flights to San Jose. And you can go direct nonstop from Fort Lauderdale for $263 round trip. Also from Miami for that same price. And you're going to be flying on probably American from Miami, but some of these flights could be on Copa or Delta or JetBlue as well. And these deals sometimes stick around for a few days, sometimes they don't. I just found it in the past day or so you might want to hurry up if you want to take advantage. And as I said, Costa Rica, one of my favorite places to visit, so go check it out. How about Vancouver, Canada? Awfully far from Florida. Typically very expensive. I've not been there, but I hear it's a wonderful place to visit. And you can get there from here, all the way there from here, from Miami for $271 round trip. To go to Atlanta, it's about $250 round trip. So, I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, it's international. It's another country. It's diagonally clear across the continent. That's just a crazy cheap price. So, if I wasn't going on so many other trips, I would book it myself. Speaking about a really long trip that's domestic, okay, this is about as far as you can fly and stay in the country. I mean, unless you're going to, some Pacific island somewhere far away. But how about Alaska? That's pretty far, right? So that should cost a small fortune. But no, they got some deals here on Scott's Cheap Flights right now. Orlando to Anchorage, $358 round trip. That's also crazy based on the distance. Also to Fairbanks, $397 from Orlando. They don't have anything listed from Miami or Fort Lauderdale, but even if you're from South Florida and you got to drive up to Orlando, to get that kind of a price to get to Alaska, that's pretty crazy. And again, have not been to Alaska. I know lots of people who have been, and I hear it is incredible. How about Reykjavik, Iceland, Orlando, $338. And we're almost out of time, so I'm going to go quick. Paris from Miami, nonstop, round trip, $386. I know, that's crazy. The fact that you could even get it nonstop from Miami is a real plus. And last but not least, to Italy, where I'm actually going in a week or two, to Rome. I'll be in Rome. Fort Lauderdale to Rome, $383. Miami, $394 round trip. Or to Milan from Miami, $390 round trip, nonstop. So go check it out. All right, we're just about out of time. So thanks again to our guest, Susie Wally, president of PGA of America. You can check her out at MirasolCC.com. And, of course, my good friend Jay Hubbard, vice president of marketing for Club Champion. That is clubchampiongolf.com. Go to facebook.com/The Golf and Travel Show. Like the page, and then you will know who our guests are going to be.